Hi guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a nice duck stir fry, which is very keto friendly. But first I'm going to take you through what ingredients we're going to use. So we've got a nice chicken stock, we've got some corn flour mixed with water, we've got some ginger, a few cloves of garlic, obviously a bit of salt, some sesame seeds, a nice red chilli, a red pepper, some carrot, some black pepper, bit of butter, some chestnut mushrooms, some tender stem broccoli, some spring onions, a courgette, and a red pepper with some soy sauce, some honey, and some sesame oil, and of course, a lovely duck breast. So the first thing we're going to do is going to prep our sauce. Once I've peeled and chopped my ginger, I'm going to measure out about a tablespoon. That's about how much I want to use. The rest of this can be saved for later. Next, garlic. Now, once I've chopped my garlic into tiny little pieces, I want to make sure it's about the same volume as my ginger. Next, chili. Again, you're looking for an even mix with chili, garlic and ginger. Some people take the seeds out. I don't mind a little bit of spice, so I'll leave mine in. Now let's peel and chop some veg. And what you want to do with these courgettes is slice them into thin little bits to sort of look like noodles, because that's what I'm using mine for. A replacement for noodles. You can use noodles for this, but this is my keto version. Next, half an onion. Onion sliced. Now let's get a few mushrooms. Next, tender stem broccoli. Just do nothing. They're good to go. Next, red pepper. Again, thinly sliced, will help to resemble that sort of noodly texture that we're looking for. Now, at this point, this is quite a good stir fry. However, I like vegetables. So I'm gonna add some carrot as well. Now, carrot is something that takes a long time to cook unless it's very thin. So what I'm gonna do is use carrot ribbons. Just like that, carrot ribbons. And lastly, spring onions. Once they're finely sliced, put them to one side. We're gonna use these later. So, prep done, time for a quick clean up. Clean up done, and onto the duck. Now, this is a very unpopular way of doing duck breasts for a stir fry. Most people will take the skin off and they will cut it into thin pieces and do it in the stir fry. I'm going to use this as an example to show you also how to cook a duck breast well. So I'm going to cook it whole. So we need to salt and pepper our duck breast and give it a little press. Make sure it gets into our skin. Now, scoring the duck skin. Don't let your butcher do this for you. They will not put as much care and attention as you will. Duck breast scored, we're ready. Okay, so we're going to start off with toasting our sesame seeds. I do this before I do my sauce. Okay, lightly toast these, do not burn them. And then set them aside for later. Using the same pan, let's put a little drizzle of sesame oil, and we're going to add our chopped garlic, chili and ginger, and sweat these off for a couple of minutes until they're a bit softer. After browning these off, let's add our chicken stock and let this simmer to reduce a little bit. We want it to reduce by about half. It's far easier to reduce the sauce in a wide, flat bottom pan. Don't be tempted to do it in a saucepan, as it takes far longer. And you're looking for it to bubble like this and let it reduce until it's about half of the liquid consistency. Once the sauce is reduced, let's add our soy sauce. And again, we're going to bring that to the boil. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of honey and a few teaspoons of our corn flour. Remember not to put too much corn flour at once, as for one, it takes about 10 minutes to cook flour off, and two, it will thicken, and you can always add more corn flour later if it's not the consistency that you're looking for. Likewise with the honey, don't add too much at once, as you can always add more later to change the flavour. At this point, turn your heat down to a low simmer, as we need to cook that flour off. And we don't want the sauce to over reduce too much to the point where it becomes a salty, sticky mess. Whilst our sauce is slowly reducing and thickening up, we're going to get started on our duck breast. Now we want our pan to be cold with no oil in it. I'm going to lay it flat down on an oven-proof pan. Put this on a high heat until it starts to sizzle. Now the duck breast is starting to sizzle, let's turn the heat down and try and apply pressure to make sure that all of the fat hits the surface of all of the pan. You may see now that the fat is starting to render and some of that lovely fat is spitting out. Cooking times on duck do vary, but at this point, now we've turned our pan down, I like to give it about 5 or 6 minutes, but making sure that that duck fat has completely rendered down and become lovely and crispy. Meanwhile, I'm going to preheat my oven to around 180, depending on how powerful your oven is, and just continue to apply pressure to this skin to making sure it has full contact with the bottom of that pan. And there we go, that's the colour we're looking for in our duck fat. Turn it over, pop it straight into the oven. The duck will be in the oven now for about 5 to 6 minutes. Right, sauce done. Let's take it out of this pan, and we want to scrape away as much as we can to save this sauce for later. Next, using the same pan, touch more sesame oil. Next, we're going to add our mushrooms, onions and pepper and fry these off for a couple of minutes to colour. Now we've got a bit of colour on our vegetables and they've slightly softened. Let's throw in our broccoli. And remember, it's a stir fry, so let's move it often. We don't want any of the vegetables to get too blackened and stick to the pan. After a couple of minutes, let's add in our carrot ribbons and our courgettes. And keep stirring. Cook for around 2 minutes. Remember to adjust your cooking time based on how wide bottomed your pan is. The more surface contact your vegetables are getting, the less time it's going to take to cook. Now it's time to add our sauce back into the pan. Stir fry this sauce for around a minute to make sure that all of the vegetables are not only soft, but cooking in this sauce to coat them all. Removing duck from the pan, let's turn it over one last time to just crisp up that skin one last time, and then we're going to leave this to rest for around 5 minutes. That resting time is very important. Now the moment of truth. Slice our duck and check that we've got a lovely, perfectly cooked piece of duck breast, just like that. Slice the duck breast at an angle. And now to plating. I use tongs to get mine out because I don't want lots of excess sauce here, but I do want lots of colours. Lots and lots of colours. And if you can, try and reserve those bits of broccoli to near the end. Veg plated, let's get our sesame seeds. Just a light sprinkle from a distance of these lovely toasted sesame seeds. And serve our duck breast over the top. Serve your duck breast over the top, just like that, and And let's give it a few of these lovely, crunchy spring onions. And that's it finished. Duck stir fry.